Now joining me is Mr. Mohit Rampal, founder and CEO, Ramagni Technologies, and his keynote is on Q2P, Quantify, Prioritize, Protect. So over to you, and the stage is all yours.
I think we've got exactly 15 minutes. We're keeping just 4 slides, just to ensure that we don't cross the 15 minutes. So we decided to not talk about what we do as a company or what products we make or manufacture. One thing I'm proud to be is an Indian because we have a Make in India product. And we are purely an Indian company. Make in India is what we work on, right? We are not going ahead and, I would say, creating different technologies. But yes, we focus on very, very niche technologies which are, technically speaking, we don't have much of competition globally. So we look at gaps which are there addressed in the technology. I'll just wait for the deck to. So we decided to have a different topic called Q2P, right? Quantify, prioritize, and protect. Everybody's talking about some product or the other. So the intention was, what are the CISOs or what are the issues which normally CIOs and CISOs and CTOs face across when they're talking about their organizations or creating a cybersecurity culture. So what do they work on? Typically, if you look at it, we talk about Q2P meaning quantify, right? When you're talking about quantification of cybersecurity, how do you quantify it? Most of the CIOs and CISOs are stuck up on simple things. What are they stuck up on? Is it going to take some time? Okay, thank you. So we're talking about quantifying what is exactly do you want to protect. Whenever I go back to a CIO or a CISO when I'm having a one-to-one discussions, not just in India, overseas, globally, all they talk about is transactions, specifically in the Indian subcontinent and specifically around the Southeast Asia. But the moment you shift your base towards the European market and especially on the US market, they focus more on quantification of the cybersecurity threat. They look at the threat, the landscape which they're going to talk about. So prioritizing comes right after quantification. And then what do you get after the quantification and prioritizing is you need to protect those key jewels, right? So when we're talking about quantifying as an organization, as a bank, I don't see much of people from the banking out here, but typically you need to protect your crown jewels, right? So your crown jewels are the ones which are your major assets to your bank, your organization. You need to quantify them. Then you need to prioritize out of those jewels, which are the ones you want to protect, right? And then you go to the protection stage. We'll just quickly cover about the top industry trends before we just jump on to what we are going to do. What's happening is, this is all, I'm sure if all of you guys are following Gartner and all the leading organizations in the world, they all talk about all these 6 or 10 topics which they're talking about 2023. One of them talks about is what? You're talking about zero trust. That means I don't trust anybody in my language. That means anything coming into my system has to be trusted. Whether you're going to trust it using a device, you're going to trust it using any mechanism. You got to trust before you let the system come into your organization. Small philosophy, I'll tell you. We have a small organization, we have 60 people. I trust everybody, but I don't trust everybody. So what do? We do get something done as a police verification. Why? I trust you, but I need to ensure that you're the right person joining my organization. So same goes for zero trust. You need to ensure that only trusted members are able to come into your system. Phishing, we all get phishing messages, we get smishing messages, we get wishing messages. You open your laptop, you open your mobile phone, you'll have a message which says, you won 20,000 rupees on your mobile number, click here. That's the first thing, stupid thing to do, because the moment you click, you're getting compromised, because now you're getting malwares even on your Android and iOSs, which can bypass, right? Then you're talking about machine learning. Divakar was talking about it, lots of people are talking about it. Everybody talks about AI and ML, right? Just to share with you, I started working on AI and ML way back in 93, 94, right? Some of you may not have been born, or maybe 4 years of age. We used to use a language called Lisp and Prolog, artificial intelligence, robotics, right? I'm talking about 93, 94. We were talking about working with optical fibers to do what people are doing right now. So AI and ML, close to my heart. We've been doing it for a donkey number of years. As a kid, I used to do it. And for me, AI and ML all belongs to one thing in class 8, mathematics, statistics. More data, better results. So you need to use all those results to be able to predict. One of the use cases one of our prospects or one of our customers has in the Middle East is he wants to be able to predict cyber incidents in future based on certain activities which have happened in the past. Now that's what we're talking about using of AI and ML. We're also talking about using of AI and ML for figuring out if your application is vulnerable. So if you look at a twist across the global market, you're having people writing the big word, my product is AI ML enabled, right? You're using data, and you're using data to forecast and be able to predict. IoT, I was just talking to somebody in one of the gas companies, and they're talking about, a simple question I asked him, so how much of IoT do you have? Everything is an IoT, right? I'll give you a small live story which happened with me 3 days ago. I have a car. My car system was giving me blinkers. What was the blinker? It says the fuel was low, despite the fact I had a fuel tank full. Then it showed me my brake pads are not working, right? And then it also showed me that my tires were not inflated properly. So I went back to the workshop. I had been sending my car a couple of times to guys, through my driver, through the agency, right? This time I decided to go myself. What did I do? I just wanted to observe what are they doing, right? They took out the laptops, they connected the device, and one of them had an IoT device which was connecting through Wi-Fi to my car to pick up information what was missing in my car. That's what I wanted to see. IoT is everywhere, right? You'll have a refrigerator. We were talking about IoT way back in, I would say 2004 and 5, when everything was coming into the IoT, or IPv6 was going to take over the world. Still hasn't been there, but yes, IoT is going to take over. Every single device is going to be interconnected. That means what for all of us? It means the attack surface has increased. What do these all communicate with? Any idea? They all communicate with something called APIs, application performance, program interface. Olden times we used to call this DLLs, libraries which were used to connect the printer to be able to talk to the printer, could talk to my laptop, could print, right? So we have those APIs combining this technology. Where else do we use IoTs, right? IoT, and if you look at the first 3 models, right? Zero trust, persistent phishing, and we're talking about increased role of AI and ML and IoT, right? We're all talking about threat intelligence. Just 10 minutes ago, somebody from a telecom company walked up across to us and said, you got a product out here. Do you also have data relating to the telecom sector? I said, yes, we do. And he wanted to be able to use that to do for his benefit. We're also talking about the multi-factor authentication. I'm sure everybody's heard about the recent hacks which happened in 2022, right? MFA, it was a big word. You need to have a 2-factor authentication. In my organization, we don't use 2-factor. We don't. We use a little bit of zero trust. We use a little bit of we don't use multi-factor authentication. We use easier ways of authentication where we can recognize the person. Biometrics is one. Lots of them are there. Multi-factor is again going to be there. It's a misnomer. Yes, it is. People are now moving across. NIST and US DOD has already said 2-factor authentication 2023. Start looking into it. The mesh, where everybody talks about cybersecurity mesh. My speakers before me have also spoken about meshes, right? We're talking about a cloud environment. I mean, honestly, I'm not a big fan of cloud. I still am the old-fashioned guy because I belong to the early late 60s. I still believe having to see my devices in front of me because I can see what I'm protecting. What's cloud? A good marketing term. I always phrase it and say, why? Because you need to have a different way. Divaka was talking about marketing, right? It's good marketing. Everybody knows Pepsi costs 20 paisa, right? Manufacturing cost, but sells for 20 bucks. Rest 19 rupees and 80 paisa as marketing. Same goes for cybersecurity also. You have it, right? You have those products going across in cybersecurity. So you've got to understand multi-factor authentication. Good to have, but you need to improvise, right? Cybersecurity, you need to improvise daily. The technology is not weekly, it's daily. Everything changes every day as we talk. Mesh, good. You need to have the same levels. I keep on asking my team, my security specialist, what's the difference of a VAPT exercise in a cloud versus physical? It's the way. What is the way? The device is on the cloud, the application is on the cloud, but you're still using the same old tools. So what's different? Nothing has changed, except the connectivities has changed. You've got to open some ports to be able to access those devices, right? So mesh is going to offer you a complete technology wherein you will have a single device, a single SOAR, a single SIEM, a single IPS IDS, a single firewall, everything going across on the single platform. Some of the industry predictions we talk about. Sorry. Can you just go back to one slide? You'll have to escape it and go back. So just switch off the screen mode there. It's okay, yeah. Sorry for the glitch. This is cybersecurity. So I'm not sure if you guys have watched the ad which came in a couple of weeks ago, which was on WhatsApp. Everybody gets a WhatsApp message when they're sitting in a cinema hall. And they said, that's an ad of a car, right? And they say, don't use your mobile phones while driving. So what are the predictions we are looking at? We are looking at CISOs, whosoever are here, somewhere down the line, if the Indians also decide, the banks decide, your paychecks would be linked with cybersecurity risk. We are no longer considering cybersecurity as a part of the CISO function only. We are saying it's a risk for the organization. We need to get protected. Privacy laws, we all have known about our privacy laws in India. Finally, we are getting some shapes. That's very important. But yes, how many of us always go back to a shop and then the guy says, "Sir, scheme hai, put your mobile number." I don't put it. My wife objects. My daughter says, "That's right. I don't put my mobile number. I don't put my email ID because it's not about my spams. It's about they get information about me, right? You get it, right? Then you got about threat actors. They're far advanced. Everybody talks about it. This was in 2014, when you heard about this unknown zero-day vulnerability which took a center stage called Heartbleed. I was in a company called Codenomicon. Luckily, I was lucky enough to be a part of the team which was working on that. We discovered an unknown zero-day attack which was there in the industry. Heartbleed on the SSL. Everybody out here at that period of time would have denied using open source components or OSS, right? Now, why am I talking about this particular topic and spending some little bit of time on this? Hackers, attackers are far more advanced, right? So people in cybersecurity, rest assured your jobs are secure because every time you've got a thief in the market, you'll always need a police to govern it, right? So that game of chore police we all would have played as kids still works in the cyber world. It's there, it's alive, right? Threat actors are now having advanced tools. If you look at the tip of the iceberg, somebody came up to me and said, I won't take names right now, around 6 months ago, I have all the data in the dark web. And I was amazed, I was taken aback. I won't take names of the organization. And I was taken aback because that person would have only got 3% of the total worldwide web data on dark. Not 100%, never you can have it. It's still unexplored, right? It's the tip of the iceberg which you see. Threat actors are already weaponized. If you are looking at things like cyber ranges, important for you guys to look into it. CISOs, CIOs, CTOs, you as an organization, you need to have that in place. If you don't have that in place, you can't perform. You can't roll out your system. Somebody came up to us from, I think it was a software industry, and he says, I need to train my guys to be able and be confident about teaming, red teaming and blue teaming. I said, you need solutions. And his first answer was, I've tried everything in the world. All the big names, you can say the Israelis, the Americans, the content is feeble. I said, you're right, I faced the same problem. I faced the same problem when I was trying to test my product for APIs. I had a nightmare. 8 security consultants, all experienced. Everybody would raise their hands and say, sir, it's impossible. The developer just plugs in an API and pushes it out. Hackers, look for those. They are more advanced than you are. And of course, we are hoping that worldwide we'll have defunding. Ransomware, everybody knows you end up paying. Last year, there were close to around 25 to 30 ransomware attacks in the country. Big names. Some people are here, some are not here. But yes, there were attacks, money was paid. We are expecting things to change. US is already working on it, I know for sure because I have a couple of friends in the right places there, and same with the INISA, right? They're working on it to have laws to protect of not paying money on ransomware. How do you do that? How do you avoid it? You want to know more? Drop into our booth at 46. We'll tell you how to do it. We are helping somebody in India work against this to ensure that all your data is secured. TTP, not MITRE TTP, not at all MITRE, right? I'm not even discussing MITRE out here. There are lots of experts. We are talking about transactional, technical and practical approach. Goes back to Q2P, right? Quantify, protect and prioritize and protect, right? We're talking about things like what do you want on transactional? Organizations need to move away from transaction. I was having a conversation in the morning with somebody and I asked them very open question, direct. You can call me rude, but it was direct. Are you guys ready? All the time you speak to those folks, I'm busy. And they're only doing transactions. They don't have a prioritization at all, right? Then we're talking about technical issues, which are we talking about? When you're talking about technical, what I heard from all the people were 4 things, right? First word I heard from most of the CIOs and CISOs in the last 18 months is APIs, APIfication. I'm worried about APIs. Second important aspect they shared with us was, I do not have a visibility of my data which is getting exposed. I don't have a visibility of what's going to attack me, right? Just, I think 3 days ago, we were speaking to somebody who is like my predecessors at, that company which makes dal, aloo bhujia and all this stuff, right? Great. Everybody's infected. Everybody's affected, right? The challenge was data. I wanted to know my threats. I want to see my threat and I want to be able to relate to the threat. Third important aspect everybody said is, I have a team. They're never ready. The cybersecurity team is never ready. We have this problem. We have open positions, huge in our company. We're a small company, but we are hiring. We never get the right security guy because we have a small test. The guy fails the test. Why? I'm sorry to use the word, I use the word half-baked beans. You cook them, you spend 200 rupees, they're wasted. You eat them, you have a stomachache, and you still go to the doctor. Either way, you lose money. So you got to train your people. It's important for cyber building, right? If you look at us as Indians, we do control 80% of the software which is residing in India. A proud moment. But are we cyber ready? No, we are not. Half the people, I would say 80% of the people, 80-20 theory, 20% organizations are ready with cybersecurity, 80% are still on the transactional level, right? Everybody used to ask me this question since 2014. I was in Codenomicon, I had a protocol fuzzing tool now acquired by Synopsys, right? We have something equivalent of on the web application side. How much of testing? And my answer was, what is your risk appetite? If your risk appetite is large, we can help you out, right? If you're looking at a small risk appetite, right, you're saying, I only have a risk appetite of $100,000 and I need to secure myself, we're the right guys to help you out. That's our punchline. When we came out with the company name in 2012, we made the word making security simple. And everybody asked this question to us. It's a nice tagline. I've been into cyber for 3 decades. And when we used to sell cyber in 1999, we used to scare you that you're going to die tomorrow morning. That's changed, right? So we decided we need to make it simple. CISOs, CIOs, everybody has this problem. They get flabbergasted with so much of technology synonyms being used across. And of course, our mission statement is making it easy to be absorbed, right? So that's one of the mission statements we work with. Any questions? We are open to it. I think I've just shot by another couple of seconds. Thank you, everybody.